Hey, welcome back to Coffee with Brett. I'm Brett Harned, and I'm the Director of Education at TeamGantt. And I gotta say, today I am totally caffeinated. This is actually my second cup of Red Rooster's Nicaragua Dark Roast, and it's absolutely delicious, and I'm buzzing. So it's actually making me want to talk more about talking, or emailing, or texting, or calling, or maybe even meeting. Okay. You're probably already overwhelmed and a little confused. There are so many ways that our teams and stakeholders can communicate about projects these days. And let's not forget about the fact that those communications can be poorly timed, misdirected, or even completely ignored. And communications are so important in project management, but it all can be overwhelming and kind of frustrating. That's why you need a communication plan. A well-crafted communication plan really does serve as your go-to resource for making sure all project messages are delivered to the right audience at the right time using the right mode of communication. So think about it. When you're stressed out or you're in a rush, you kind of just do what feels right. That might mean sending a quick email or making a call, and you can do that. But when you do, are you sure that you're communicating in the best way that's inclusive of your team and stakeholders? Well, probably not if you're stressed out or if you're stretched for time. So I think you should use a communication plan to make sure that you, your teams, and your stakeholders send clear, specific messages that get the results that you actually need. So before I jump in how to make a communication plan, I do just want to say this. I talk a lot about how plans are not optional because they serve as the backbone to your project, and they do really help you to get things done. Now, usually I'm talking about project plans or Gantt charts, and that still stands, so don't skip those plans. But as far as I'm concerned, communication plans make the better part of project management. And sometimes you need to put some plans in place to make sure that your project communications are clear, timely, inclusive, and actually land with the right people. You need to set clear expectations for how you'll communicate. And pulling together a communication plan can be really a helpful approach to take, especially when you're dealing with larger teams and larger stakeholder groups. As the project lead, you've already mapped out your tasks, milestones, deliverables to get you across the finish line in your project plan. So why not do the same thing for project communications? After all, I really do think a project plan does need a steady stream of communication in order for it to stay on track. Plus, the communication plan isn't about you. Well, you're a PM. You know that it's never about you, right? Well, anyway, a communication plan can play an important role by providing a place for everyone to check in on if they're unsure about how to communicate or get updates, or even which tools or modes of communication to use. Giving your communication expectations that kind of visibility will not only create expectations for some communications, it'll also help with teamwork, morale, productivity, and even on-time deliverables. I know that's a lot, and a lot of PMs are searching for ways to make team members more accountable, and I do think this is one way to help. All right, so let me jump into the how. Writing a project management communication plan is as simple as following the 5 steps on screen here. First, list your project's communication needs. So let's face it, not all projects share the same requirements, and that goes for communications as well. Every project is different. So take the size of the project, the nature of the work being done, and even your team and stakeholders' unique preferences into account as you determine which types of communication your project needs to succeed. Think about it. Do you need TeamGantt discussions, Slack channels, email, phone calls, meetings? Sort that out first. Next, define the purpose of your communications. Bombarding people with too many emails or unnecessary meetings can definitely interfere with their ability to get work done, and it can cause them to overlook important updates. So be purposeful in your plan and ensure that every communication included has a reason for being. If you're feeling really ambitious, go ahead and outline a basic agenda for the topics that will be covered in each meeting or any report. Those details matter. Then Choose a communication method. Do you really need a meeting to share a weekly update, or is your project discussion board enough? Think through how your team works best so they can stay in the loop while being productive at the same time. If your stakeholder prefers the personal touch of a phone call or a meeting, you can build that into your plan as well. Then set a cadence for your communication. Establishing a regular frequency for communication streamlines the process by setting clear expectations from the get-go. This not only frees you from fielding random requests for status updates, it also enables project members to carve out space for important meetings and reports ahead of time. Finally, identify the owner and the stakeholders related to each communication. Assigning ownership creates accountability, so your carefully crafted plan can reach its full potential. As the project manager, you'll probably be most responsible for a lot of communications, but there may be some you want to delegate to others. While you're naming names, list the audience or stakeholders for each communication type as well. That way, key players come prepared to provide updates when needed, or they at least know that there's a certain communication they should be thinking about or looking for. So, those quick 5 steps should help you out. They should help you to get your communications plan started, but if you want to create one and want a little more information and direction, I've got you. Check out our blog post. It's called How to Create Project Communication Plan, and download our free template, which actually is 3 templates in one. It offers 3 versions of the same template. Just like everything else in project management, there's no single way of doing this. So check out the templates, think through the steps I talked through, and create a communication plan that works for your team and your stakeholders, and you'll be set up for project success. All right, folks, well, that's all for this episode, and I think for this cup of coffee too, I'm done. So grab that template, test your communication planning skills today, and get on with it. In the meantime, feel free to like and subscribe below, or share your PM and coffee recommendations with me. I'd love to hear more from you. Thanks.